Hey, Lanny, how are you? Good to see you. Is this the first time you're calling in to this to my live stream? You know, it's such a bummer that you can only read messages on the live stream. You can't really see the people. It's not like Zoom. So, hi, Alice. Good morning. Just getting warmed up after the 4th of July fireworks. Uh, So the big sale's still going on. Oh, you saw the notification. Awesome. Did you see the notification in Instagram? I'm just trying to figure out what the best way to communicate with people is. And so I post on Instagram, but you know, I'm such a small creator on Instagram that my stories take a while to sort of bubble up. So oh, yeah, my background. My husband has done a really nice job keeping the pool clean this year. We've got oak trees right above where I'm standing. We've got tons of oak trees like all around my garden, and they just keep dumping leaves. During fall, it's an absolute nightmare. We've tried covering it. Yeah, I don't know, it just doesn't work really well. So, but he did a really nice job, I think, for the first time in 20 years, keeping my pool nice and clean. So, yeah. Yeah, thank you, Alice. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I take a lot of trouble to, work on this yard. It was actually like even like 3 years ago, it was completely lawn, like completely. And then we got a few loads. I was just tired. I mean, California, it's really difficult to maintain a green lawn unless you dump a ton of water in it. And I've got a pretty decent sized backyard, you know? So it takes quite a bit of work to keep the lawn green and lots of water. And then we were having all those droughts, and the lawn just looked really bad during summer. So we decided, okay, enough wasting water on the lawn. We're gonna dump wood chips. So that's what we did. And then, like 2 years, I think it took for the grass to actually die out almost completely. It's still not quite dead, but yeah, we got like every year we'd get a whole load of 10 cubic yards of wood chips from Chip Drop and dump it all over the yard, and eventually that killed out most of the grass. Hey, Bren. Oh, you watched my my garden tour. You know, I'm always hesitant to do garden tours because I'm like people be bored watching my garden, but a lot of people seem to appreciate it, and I appreciate the validation as well that I'm doing a decent job. Takes a lot of hours of the day keeping this yard looking whatever the way it is. It's still not there yet, you know. So we dumped the wood chips, killed all the grass, and then eventually started planting things. But you know, everything is temporary right now. We've got some concrete structures. You know, we got those bricks from Home Depot, and we kind of laid it out ourselves. And so we're trying to feel what kind of works well in the garden. And then I'm planting plants everywhere. And then wherever things start to thrive, I'm like, okay, you like that spot. Maybe I'll do more of you there. So it's growing very, very organically. But it's such a fun process. I think that's the most important thing. And I've made so many friends locally who just give me plants. So they're like, "Oh, you have a big backyard. We've got extra plants. Do you want some?" I'm like, "Sure. I'll just put it somewhere." You know. So yeah, yep, yeah. So did you guys have a good 4th of July? Did you guys celebrate, Lanny? I saw your pictures. I loved your dress, your 4th of July. Sorry, your flag dress. So cute, and you looked so adorable in it. Anyway, yeah, so we're about 4 minutes after 10 o'clock. So today I want to talk about GreenStalks, of course. You know, so most of you, I've done polls on my YouTube channel, and most of you want me to do GreenStalk content. I like to do content on all kinds of things, but people seem to appreciate my GreenStalks. So I'll do more GreenStalk content. I haven't quite figured out this camera. It kind of does a reverse of what I'm seeing, so I don't know which direction to turn things. But yeah, my GreenStalk. So the last time I did it, so I do this live stream every Saturday, not every Saturday, every first Saturday of the month. And last time when I did it, I told you guys, hey, next time I do this, you're probably not going to be able to see my green stalks. They grow so fast during summer. And I think they're getting there. You can see the bottom of this green stalk, but I've got eggplants, I've got tomatoes. Sweet alyssum is beautiful but deadly in the green stalk because it will shade everything out, and it grows so quickly as well during our summers. And then I've got beautiful marigolds. I love marigolds in the green stalk. I always have them in the top tier. And then another thing that I do with these marigolds is I pinch off the dried buds. They may not be completely dry, but I just keep pinching them off and I throw them into any pocket in the green stalk. And the next thing you know, I've got volunteer marigolds. So I kind of have a succession of marigolds coming. And then I carefully take out the little volunteers, put them in little six packs, grow them to size, and then I put them in different parts of my garden. So, so yeah, where I know where Lanny is calling in from. Alice, Bren, where are you guys? Where are you guys located? And is this the first time that you're on one of my live streams? I'm just curious. And how many green stocks do you have? I've got my current count is 11. So yeah, I've got a lot of green stocks. Bren is in Florida. Oh, it must be nice and hot over there. We've been having a surprisingly cool or extended cool spring, which I so appreciate because our summers come too quickly, and my spring vegetables they're pretty much done. But summer is kind of ramping up gradually this year, at least in Northern California and the Bay Area. And yeah, it's really nice because the tomatoes do not like hot weather. So as soon as the temperatures start to hit the 90s, the 90 pluses, the tomatoes stop producing flowers and they stop producing fruit as a consequence. So all the flowers drop. So I try to get shade cloth up wherever possible, but yeah, the heat of the environment causes the tomatoes to drop their blossoms. So I'm happy that we're getting a little bit of an extended spring, kind of, or at least a slow ramp up to summer. But the thing, though, is tomatoes are taking forever to ripen. I mean, I was looking at some of my photographs from last year. I had a lot of ripe tomatoes, and this time it's kind of just starting to get there. So, yeah. Brent says, I just got my first one in June for my birthday, so absolutely too hot to plant anything. Yeah, but you know what? Do you do fall tomatoes, Bren? Because I think now is a good time to start seeds or cuttings from friends or whatever. I always do fall tomatoes as well because I feel that, even though I grow indeterminates and here in California, our weather is it's so dry in summer that we don't have fungal disease issues practically. Well, we do, but not as much. But what happens is even the indeterminate tomatoes, they start to tend to taper off a little bit. So I always like to get a second batch going, and I always do determinates for my second batch, so I get a big flush of tomatoes late in the season and kind of wrap up on a high note. So, hi, Jean Varese. Nice to meet you. You're in Pittsburgh. One green stalk planted. Awesome. And another one just picked up on Facebook Marketplace. I'm so jealous of people who are able to find green stalks on Facebook Marketplace. How are you guys able to do that? I keep looking. No one's ever selling their green stalks. So I see Nisha. Hi, Nisha. Do you have any favorite pepper varieties that do well in the green stalk? I do. Okay, so I tried many varieties, but a few of them do well. Jimmy Nardello. If you guys haven't tried Jimmy Nardello, and not just green stalk, anywhere in the garden, oh my gosh, it's a fantastic pepper. It grows really long, kind of looks like cayenne, but even longer than typical cayennes, thin and long, and it turns a beautiful lipstick red when it's ripe. And you want to wait for it to turn red, but it is a sweet pepper. It's not a hot pepper, and you can just lightly kind of with a little bit of oil and salt and pepper. Oh my gosh, it is amazing. So very, very productive as well. So I think Jimmy Nardello might be my favorite to grow in the green stalk. I grow some hot peppers too. I like growing cayenne, Thai chili peppers, the little ones that kind of go upward. So the bird's eye peppers or something like that. I love those as well. Anything that doesn't grow very large, Buena Malata, that's another one. The purple pepper, love growing that. Black pearl. Have you guys grown black pearl peppers before? They're hot peppers. they call them ornamental peppers, but that is such a unique pepper. The pepper itself is like a black pearl. That's why it's called black pearl. It looks glossy, and the leaves, oh my gosh, I've never seen that kind of leaf on a pepper plant. So that grows pretty well in the green stalk too. So just look up any variety that doesn't grow too tall. Now I have grown California wonder peppers in the green stalk. They did okay. They're not terribly large plants, so I figured they would do well. But what happened was they produced like one very large pepper, and then that's it, right? So maybe I wasn't fertilizing enough, maybe I wasn't watering enough, but I thought that that was pretty amazing how it produced the largest pepper that I've ever grown in my life, right? California wonder, but that's it, one pepper on one plant. So, kind of not worth it. Who else is here? Nisha says, okay, pepper varieties. The heat we've had, Lanny, the heat we've had a couple of weeks ago burnt a lot of my leaves and even killed some of my strawberries in the green stuff. What kind of heat are you guys getting over there? I mean, you're in New Jersey, right, Lanny? So, I mean, it feels like in California where we're supposed to be really hot and burning up. We're not this year. A lot of places that are supposedly much cooler. Yeah, yeah, 104? You got 104 already? Okay, we've the maximum we've gotten so far was like a couple of days of like 95, 96. Haven't gotten hotter than that. And we haven't had a heat wave yet. By this time last year we had had a couple of heat waves, but this year it's a lot cooler. So, okay, you're in Maryland. So that's not normal. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the weather. It's like it's shifting, all the places that are supposed to be hot on the West Coast, it's moving to the East Coast. But of course, Florida and Texas, I guess you guys don't get a break, right? It's always really hot where you are. So, North Carolina. Oh, aren't you guys are having some sort of hurricane or something blowing through, right? Hope you're staying safe. I thought I saw something about some sort of hurricane blowing through the Carolinas this week. So yeah, Fontana, California, Alice says, and she's got 9 GreenStalks. Yeah, so I had 5 GreenStalks for the longest time, and I was like, I don't think I can handle more than this. And I had all of these. All of these were terracotta. That was my initial thing, is I wanted only one color and I wanted only terracotta. But what I didn't realize is that the terracotta was a limited color at the time. I didn't know that. And initially there was the green, there was the stone color, and then there was the terracotta. And then terracotta suddenly vanished. And I'm like, I wanted to buy another. And I was so disappointed to learn that it was a limited color. But they are going to be bringing back some colors. They sell through their retailers. So if you're missing a favorite color, then check like Epic Gardening, Garden Answer, a few others of their partners sell some of those colors that GreenStalk is not selling. But here's another thing that I read on Facebook. Apparently, in October, they're doing a warehouse clearance. And so they're going to have like pretty much all the colors that they've got in stock that they're trying to reduce quantities on. So they're going to be bringing back a lot of colors for the October sale. So if you're dying to have a color, you might want to wait till October. Ginger Lani says, Portapeno. Never heard of that one. Huh, I'm gonna have to try that. Is that a spicy jalapeno type pepper or something else? Give me a second. I'm going to try and wipe my camera. It looks like it's got fingerprints on it. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, a little bit better. Yeah, girl, what's daddy something? I can't quite read it. Located in Texas. You've got 1 GreenStalk and you need a solution for your summer weather. It gets very, very hot. Well, what I would suggest is maybe don't grow tomatoes, or if you've got a cool place in your backyard, move your plants over there. But yeah, succession planting I think is the way to go for you guys who have really, really hot summers where the tomatoes fry. I don't think the GreenStalk is going to help. In fact, I think it's going to be worse in the GreenStalk, because GreenStalks, I mean, at the end of the day, each of them, I don't know what is it's like 1.5 cubic feet of soil in each tier. It's not very much. So it dries out quickly. You're going to have to water more. You're going to have to provide shade cloth. it's just one after the other. In fact, I think you'll do better off growing them in your raised beds if you've got those really hot summers, because the tomatoes can maybe somehow try to find water in the green stalk. If you're not watering sufficiently, they're dead in the water. No pun intended. So yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I was talking to one of my friends who lives in Texas the other day, and he was sharing all these harvests, tomatoes, ripe tomatoes, and I'm like, you guys are already having, that many ripe tomatoes. We're just barely getting started over here, and things. I think the humidity helps things grow just a lot faster. So I was kind of jealous, and he's like, yeah, you may be jealous, but you can't." He sent a little gif thing. Someone sitting on a chair and unable to get up because she's stuck to her chair because of the sweat. So he's like, yeah, there's pluses and minuses to the humidity, but the sweating is definitely a negative. So yeah. Yeah, so let's get into some of the things that I wanted to talk about today. But first, if you guys bought any of the green stocks at the current sale that's going on, there's a fantastic sale. I'm sure most of you are aware of it if you're a regular on the GreenStalk Gardeners Facebook group, or if you're signed up for their newsletter. But there's a sale, 2 more days left for this, and it's like everything in the store is on sale. So let me know what you guys bought. I did not buy anything this time other than a lid. I was missing a lid on one of my green stocks, so I got that, but I didn't buy any new green stocks. I'm like, I got to get used to the 11 that I have already. But yeah, and then one more thing is they've got a clearance going on right now on all of their seed starting stuff, you guys. So go and check that out. I've got the pink one and I've got the black one. They are fantastic quality. And a lot of the, like Vago Garden, some of the others as well, make really good quality seed starting trays. But I like green stocks. One particular reason that I like it is it's flexible. The base of the thing, so it's not hard like some of the other companies. They make really hard bases, but GreenStalks is nice and flexible. It's got those slits on the side. Seedlings grow really, really well. You just poke your finger up and the whole plug comes right out. Really good quality. It's the same quality material that they use for their GreenStalks, so super high quality. So go out and get the seed starter trays, super discount going on right now because of the clearance. But here's another tip: if you're not too hung up about the color, their black seed starter trays are like 60% off, or something like 66% off, or something like that. Their green is only like 30% off, and their pink, I think, is like 40% off, something thereabouts. But the black is hugely discounted. So if you're not hung up about the color, get the black. Big clearance going on. And then they've got seeds. I think they partner with Botanical Interests, which is Epic Gardening. They've got seeds on sale. All of their seed starter stuff is on clearance, not just sale, it's on clearance. So get those. Nisha says 1 solid week of 99 to 102. I'm so sorry. North Carolina also? I thought it was just Texas. Um, Long winter, says Bren. And then it snowed. It snowed in Florida. Which part of Florida are you in? Texas. Well, okay. Doing cover crops until about. That's actually a really good idea. You want to always keep something growing in your raised beds, not necessarily your green stalks, because, let's face it, you're not really building soil in your green stalks, but in your raised beds or any of your in-ground stuff, grow cover crops. I like growing bean type cover crops because they put nutrients like nitrogen fixing things into the soil, and a lot of organic material, and they grow really, really fast. So I'm not sure what you're doing. Was it Bren who said that she's doing cover crops? Yeah. But yeah, I'm curious, what kind of cover crops are you doing? The cereal type? Or are you doing the nitrogen fixing type? What kind of cover crops do you grow in Florida, right? Garlic Girl says, I bought some accessories and I got a friend referral discount and encouraged them to. I have so many friends that I have encouraged to buy green stocks, and most of them are very happy. One of them, I don't know whether she's on, so I hope she won't mind me calling her out, but one of them took a while to get her going with it because, when you're overwhelmed with all kinds of things going on in the garden, it's like getting that first one set up. It's kind of like that learning curve, I think, freaks you out. And then even after you get it set up, if you're not having success right away, the GreenStalk's got a learning curve, you guys. Some of you may have that magical touch, but I think for most people, it's a lot of trial and error, and a lot of the usual gardening rules may not apply, because at the end of the day, this is a container, and it's a specialized container, right? So it's not like a lot of people that I know bought it to. They're like, oh, I've got a lot of containers lying around with perennials. I want to transfer all of those to the GreenStalk. Uh, just know that the GreenStalk, you need to refresh it fairly frequently. I do it once a year because I grow in my GreenStalks year round, but at least once every couple of years, you got to do a complete refresh. So you're technically growing your perennials either as annuals or as biennials, right? Like strawberries and things. But you're not growing them forever like you would in many containers, like in big, large containers. You can't grow things that grow very large either because the shallow root system. So just keep that in mind. I saw someone asking somewhere, can I grow blueberries in the GreenStalk? No, you don't want to grow blueberries in the GreenStalk, right? Even though they are shallow rooted, they want to establish, right? So give them something that they can really stay in forever and ever if possible. Let's see. Yep. Garlic Girl says, I need shade cloth, but the ones at the big box store are too big. I asked GreenStalk to make one for us. So yeah, I'm curious about the shade cloth. Are you thinking about like having something that drapes over each GreenStalk, or something that goes over? I've got I think it's the insect netting that I got, and I've not used it yet. I usually like to use it for my fall vegetables because that white caterpillar. But do those provide sufficient shade, or are they just not good enough for where you live? So yeah, it'll be nice if they do something that people can grow throughout, right? Rather than just during certain times of the year. The seed covers, Alice says she loves the seed covers and she's able to start seeds. And that was like a glorious invention, right? The seed covers. They also look adorable. They look like little jewel cases, I always say, on the GreenStalk, but they make a huge difference to keeping that soil moist and keeping the you don't want, as much as possible. I don't like spraying on, especially the tiny seeds. So having them stay moist for longer with those seed covers, huge difference. I love the seed houses. Oh, Bren, you bought the black set 4 starter kit. Okay, so I'm going to tell you something interesting. Go and check it out. Go verify. But to me, it seemed like if you buy 4 single sets, it was coming out cheaper than buying the 4 set. But it was negligible, the difference. But I thought that was interesting that they missed that the 4 set was actually more expensive than buying 4 individual sets. But it's not a big deal. It's a lovely company, small family business, just amazing, right? I posted recently on Instagram. If you guys are not on Instagram, if you only follow me on YouTube, I'd love it if you check out my channel on Instagram. I'm not very big on Instagram, a couple of thousand followers, but I do post stories regularly. So if you want to see like updates on how my GreenStalks are doing, I do a lot of tips on other things as well. So follow me on Instagram. It's at greenlove121, I think is my handle. So, and I'll put that handle in the description of the video as well. Let's see, seed covers, black seed. Oh, you're Northwest Florida. Okay. A random seed. Brent says, I bought a random cover crop seed packet. I don't remember what's in it. Growing nasturtiums. Interesting. So you can grow nasturtiums in the hot weather. I find that I love nasturtiums in the GreenStalk, by the way. I don't know whether they're such a great idea because they cascade down and they cover everything, but gosh, they look beautiful, right? But for me, my nasturtiums, as the summer heats up and it gets a lot drier, nasturtiums don't do well where I live. So it's a spring crop, winter kind of spring crop for me. And for winter also, they tend to die off if there's a frost, so even a mild frost. So it's pretty much only spring and early summer that my nasturtiums do okay. So, but I love them. They look beautiful in the GreenStalk. Oh, Susan is here. Hey, Susan. You may know it. Thumbelina zinnias that you grow in the pot on the ground that are 6 to 8 inches. Okay, my master gardening skills are right. Okay, in the GreenStalk they're 12 to 16 inches. Okay, so good to know because I want to grow. I've got Thumbelinas before, and they've grown. I don't know what variety I got. I think I just picked up something at the big box store, and my Thumbelina zinnias grew like 3 feet tall, right? The zinnias themselves were little tiny things and they were adorable, and the plant was just full of the blooms. It was great. But I was like, can I really grow it in the GreenStalk? And then Susan, Jan Killa 54, told me that you can actually get real Thumbelina zinnias. I think you said fairy morse, right? And they don't grow very tall. So, oops, sorry. I'm keen to try those if I'm able to get a hold of them. So, Garlic Girl says, I read that insect netting can be too hot. Oh, okay. But can use if I leave an opening. Okay. You wanted something that drapes over the green stalk. Yeah, make recommendations. I have noticed that they actually take recommendations from viewers very, very seriously. And if you guys are not on their Facebook page, it's called GreenStalk Gardeners. Get on that, okay, for a few reasons. Number one, it is actually managed by the GreenStalk family, so it's theirs, but they don't really participate much. But they do drop little hints about things to come. I think like the warehouse clearance thing in October. I don't think I'm giving away any secrets over here because I think people are talking about it, and they've announced it in various little mini forums. I think maybe Instagram and things like that. But yeah, that place, the GreenStalk Gardeners Facebook group, amazing amount of tips that they viewers, people who have used GreenStalks or use GreenStalks, all big fans, right? Okay, so that's one caveat. They are huge enablers. So if you are worried about a GreenStalk addiction, they are going to feed that addiction like crazy, right? But they give great tips, and the because it's monitored by the GreenStalk family, they are looking for suggestions from people on things that they can do to improve their products and new stuff that they can bring to market. So yeah, definitely leverage that forum if you aren't already. It's a wonderful place. And if you love GreenStalks, it's the place to be. That, and of course, my live streams. Just kidding. Uh, Lanny says she loves my Instagram page. Thank you, Lanny. Uh, Instagram is one of those things I mean, you're an amazing Instagrammer, right? I mean, you've got many, many followers and your content is just so, so amazing. So guys, if you haven't checked out Lanny Gingerfoot Garden, she's on YouTube as well now, which is awesome. I'm excited to see that growing. But also check out her Instagram page. She has got a fantastic channel. So yeah, check her out. Um, Garlic Girl says, "What a great idea!" To Susan Yankala. Is that about the Thumbelina zinnias, or am I missing something here? Okay, 12 to 16 inches is a good height for any plant in the green stalk. Um, pork rind container from Sam's. She fills it with sand, drills a hole in the lid just big enough for the umbrella. Okay. So Bren says, I did the math for all the colors and thought the same, but they lowered the price just a bit. So yeah, it was very small. It was just one of those interesting things, right? That usually you don't see happen, but it happens, right? But yeah, get the black. If you, I really highly recommend it. So one of the things that you do have to be aware of if you're getting the seed starter trays is that they are a bit non-standard, right? So if you look at your typical 10-20 trays, and a lot of products that you can buy like on Amazon, whatever, like the heat mats and things, they are built for the 10-40 trays. So 10-20 trays, sorry. Which means 10 inches by 20 inches. So that's the standard size. GreenStalks is larger. It's kind of more squarish, but they also sell heat mats if you're really particular about the size thing. They fit nicely in my shelves, indoor shelves. They fit like perfectly, so that's not an issue. But just be aware that they're a little bit non-standard size, but they are adorable and the quality is amazing. So definitely worthwhile investment, especially at this price. Um, let's see. They get huge. Yeah, things do grow. Certain plants, I wouldn't say everything, but certain things do a lot better in the green stock compared to other parts of my garden. I think there's two reasons that I think that they do well. The first reason, the soil in the green stock, right? Amazing soil, very lightweight, lots of aeration. The roots can really breathe. So that just makes the plants grow better. And then, secondly, and I think probably most importantly, most of us love our green stocks, right? We take extra special care of them. So it's just a direct translation. The more care you give a plant, the better it's going to grow. So I always say everything grows better in my green stalk. And probably the main reason is because I take so much care on my green stalks. I call them my love spaces, right? Every morning, that's the first place that I go to, is go and check every single one of my green stalks. And I've got green stalks all the way at the other end. I don't know if you guys have seen my flower green stalks. They have exploded in growth. These are the razzleberries that I got like 4 months ago, I think. They had a buy one, get one sale. And I got the razzleberries. I got two. I got a 5 tier and a 3 tier, and I made them into 4-4. And I love that height, by the way. The 4 tier original is like the perfect height for me. And so I've got two razzleberries sitting on my deck all the way in the back there. And I planted flowers, only flowers. And I did something interesting. I also planted like geraniums and things that are technically perennials, but I felt I'll get them started in the green stock and then I'll move them to different parts of the garden. So everything did so well as expected, right? I set up irrigation as well, which by the way is a game changer. If you have not got irrigation in a green stock, get irrigation. It makes the biggest difference, right? At least in California. I don't know about that. I can't really speak for other states, but in California, it took my game up like 100%, right? It doubled my production on my green stalks, just installing irrigation. That one change that I made. But yeah, back to my flower green stalks. So they were growing, and then I came back from vacation and they were kind of a little bit out of control, and I started pruning them. And I almost got attacked by these little, I think they're called juncos. They look like little sparrows. One of them had built a nest over there. So they do not let me anywhere near those green stalks. So I've just let those green stalks go wild. I'm like, okay, you guys, have your babies, have fun. These are your green stalks. It's on irrigation, so they'll continue to grow. But those green stalks, they have exploded. I mean, they are 4 tiers high and about 4 tiers wide. That's how big the plants have grown in them. And I put pictures actually on my YouTube channel. So, hello, Denise. I don't see where Denise is. Did I miss you somehow? I'm trying to catch up. There's a lot of comments over here, so sorry if I'm missing your comments. Relatively new here, says Denise. Found my channel, recently found my channel. So glad you found my channel. I have all kinds of content on my channel, but I noticed that when I started putting out green stock content, a lot of you seemed a lot more interested. So I figured, why not give you guys what you want, right? So I'm putting out a lot more green stock content these days. I'd say 50% is green stock versus other content, but I've got all kinds of things going on in my garden. And that's why I did a garden tour the other day, because I wanted just to kind of give you guys an idea of all the other things that I've got going on in my garden. I've been gardening for many, many years, but really seriously gardening only since the pandemic. I started gardening when I was like 7 years old. My mother was my inspiration. She loved to garden, and her father before her loved to garden as well. So it's kind of a genetic thing. I'm hoping at least one of my 3 children will get it. So far, one looks promising. The other two are just absolutely not interested. So anyway, that's the background story behind why I created my YouTube channel. It's kind of like a legacy for hopefully my children or people of that age, to when they get to the right age where they want to start gardening as well, they may look at my channel and find some value in it. So that's my story. But let's see. Any other interesting things? 6B. Okay. Yeah. So Brussels sprouts. You're growing Brussels sprouts, Susan. Now, are you growing them in the green stock, by the way? Oh, that'll be interesting if you're growing Brussels sprouts. I cannot grow Brussels sprouts where I am in California. And by the way, that's not just me. It's not very easy to grow Brussels sprouts. You have to grow certain varieties. We have to actually start our Brussels sprouts in like end of May, early June timeframe for them to make it to the production stage in time, right? So our weather is just not suited. I think closer to the coast they can grow Brussels sprouts better, but where I am in the East Bay area, I can't grow Brussels sprouts very well, but I'll keep trying. I've got one plant growing for my fall garden this year. So thank you, Lani. You are very kind. She says I'm knowledgeable, and so it makes sense. I do a great job. Thank you so much. Yeah, I absolutely love my YouTube channel and look forward to creating content. But let's talk about a few more things. So back to how to keep your green stalks looking amazing during summer. obviously, if your summer's too hot to grow certain things, don't grow those things, right? But there's lots of things that grow really well, I think, in hot summers as well. And you're going to have to figure out what works in your area. And one great resource for finding out what grows well, what to start planting when, check out your Master Gardener local chapter. So all over the United States, the university, the state universities have Master Gardener programs. And so just Google your zip code Master Gardener program, and you should find their website. And pretty much all of them have a planting schedule, so you know what to plant when. So check that out. Hugely valuable resource. And another really good resource that comes out of the Master Gardener thing is their help desk. So if you're having problems that are local to your area, contact your local Master Gardener chapter help desk. Very responsive, very knowledgeable people, and they will give you free advice that is specific to your particular area. So definitely take advantage of the Master Gardener resource. Let's see. So yeah, one of the things that I do is I fertilize. My schedule of fertilization for the GreenStalk increases as the summer gets hotter and obviously the plants get larger. So I fertilize once a week, and I use a liquid fertilizer. So initially, when you first set up your GreenStalk and you've got some slow release fertilizer, that typically lasts about 3 months, give or take. And then after that, you've got a. I like to add a little slow release fertilizer after about 3 months or so. I do it once a month in the pockets, especially where I've got tomato plants, eggplants, things that grow fairly large. And you don't necessarily need to put it in the pocket where the plant is growing from, because guess what? The plant is going to get its nutrition from all over. So I actually put it in the opposite pocket because I think that the feeder roots have reached out across the tier to get fertilizer. So yeah, definitely once a month or so, add a little bit of granular fertilizer, but liquid fertilizer every single week is what I do. And I use this one. So if you are into organic only, then this is not purely organic. It's called Schultz, but it's a fantastic liquid fertilizer, and it's got not just your nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, that's a 10, 15, 10, but it's also got like micronutrients, minerals, and things like that that plants need. So plants need 17 essential macro and micronutrients in order to thrive. So you've got your nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, but you've also got iron and selenium and calcium and magnesium and manganese, all these things that the plants really need to do their best, right? So you want to choose fertilizers that actually provide more than just your nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. So I use this Schultz. It's pretty good. I like it a lot. And I use about half a capful in a 3-gallon container, and I pour it into the top tier. And I also do pocket fertilization for my tomatoes and other very, very hungry plants. So definitely once a week or so, I usually do fertilizer Fridays. So every Friday I fertilize. Let me see if there's anything. Yeah. So yeah, Larry. I mean, the help desk's super, super useful. If you're having any problem with any particular plant, you're an amazing gardener. I can't imagine you've got problems. But if you do, or if you want to expand what you're growing as far as the variety, you can get some great tips on how to get started from your local Master Gardener chapter. Bren says our extension office has occasional sales on veggies and flowers that they grow. Yeah, so that's the other thing. The Master Gardener program, it's completely run by volunteers, right? So here's a little bit of a misnomer. We're called Master Gardeners, but we are certified volunteers for the Master Gardener program, right? So I think the Master Gardener is a little bit misleading because not all Master Gardeners are created alike. We go through I think it's a 6 month, twice a week classes and get educated. It's a wonderful program. If any of you guys are interested, they give you the breadth, right? So it's not just vegetables, it's flowers, it's fruit trees, they get and native plants. They teach you about everything. So now you know what you want to dive deeper into. So for me, it was a nice rounding off of my knowledge of plants. I'll tell you that my gardening skills went up several notches, even though I'd been gardening my entire life. my gardening skills went up several notches when I went through the Master Gardener program. But then again, you've got people that have barely just started gardening that come to the Master Gardener program and become certified Master Gardeners, but they're not technically Master Gardeners, right? They're Master Gardener volunteers. So they will be able to get you to the right resources. They know how to find information for you. So we are taught how to research stuff, but we're not technically the best gardeners in the world or anything like that, right? So just be aware of that. But yeah, I keep digressing. The sales, that's something that you should look for in your local Master Gardener program. They usually are organized by people, Master Gardeners, who understand the location very well and will only sell things that have been carefully nurtured by Master Gardeners in that area, right? So very healthy plants and also plants that grow really well. Hugely worth it, right? And all profits usually go to some kind of nonprofit. So in our local Master Gardener program, we've got a garden where we've got our volunteers that go regularly and tend to it, and they do the sales and they grow the plants for the sales. But everything that is grown in the garden is donated right to the local crisis center. So it's you're supporting a good cause as well. You're not supporting a for-profit business or anything like that. So definitely support your Master Gardener program. It's a wonderful program, and you will benefit more from them than you can imagine. So uh, Susan, you're just too kind. She says, I'm a Master Gardener, and that's why I'm so great. But like I said, Master Gardener doesn't necessarily mean you're a master, right? You're a volunteer for the program. So yeah, Schultz products, really great. I highly recommend them for gardening. Yeah, sign up for the if you can adjust it. I mean, a lot of people, they work full time, and so they're not able to manage the schedule. At least, and every program is different, right? So in my program, we do one evening, like on Wednesday for 3 hours or something like that, and then we have Saturday morning, which is usually a hands-on type class. They teach us a lot of things. So they teach us how to do soil testing. All of that stuff is all kind of lab type stuff. So they've got to have in person as well. Some people are just not able to make it because of their work schedule, which is kind of a bummer. But yeah, if you can do the Master Gardener program, even if you're not into doing YouTube like I am, it's really helpful. One thing that you have to be aware, though, is they do have volunteer requirements for the Master Gardener program. So in our program, and I don't know whether every program is different, but in our California program, not in Bay Area program, we have to do, the first year is 50 hours of volunteer time. It's not very much. I mean, especially if you go volunteer in the garden and all of that, the hours increase pretty quickly. The second year, it's only 25 hours, right? But they add on what's called continuing education. So you've got to listen to talks and things like that. So you've got like 12 hours of continuing education and then 25 hours of actual volunteer work. So yeah, some people, it's just a schedule that they cannot manage. So find out all of that. I think they have like information sessions where they talk about all these things so you can make an informed decision. So what did Bren do that requires a congratulations? Why is this not letting me scroll back? Oh, there we go. I can't see what Bren did. Anyway, congratulations, Bren, whatever that is. I can't see where the message is. Okay. Neptune's Harvest. So yeah, I've not used that one. Neptune's Harvest, it's like fish emulsion, I think, fertilizer. I've used the common one, which is Alaska fish fertilizer, and that stinks, right? I don't want to go anywhere near that thing. I know it's magical because I have used it in the past, but oh my gosh, that really smells bad. And I heard that Neptune's does not. So they're doing something to it, which makes me question, right? How close is it to the original thing if you're able to take the smell away from fish fertilizer? But if that's working out for you, that's great. I mean, as long as the plants love it, right? Let's see. All right. So yeah, so that's fertilizer, and then the other thing is watering. Watering, like I said a little while ago, the biggest change that took my GreenStalks from average to super performing was irrigation. So now remember that I live in California, hot, dry, long summers without a drop of rain. So keep that in mind. That said, Rain, as far as I can tell, at least during my springtime when we get a lot of rain, doesn't do very much for the green stalks because the pockets are kind of difficult to get into, especially if you've got a lot of plants growing. The rain doesn't really get into the pockets. So you can leave the lid open, but that doesn't fill up as rapidly, right? So don't count on rain, I guess, is the bottom line, to water your green stalks sufficiently. I think you'll need to water them less than I do because I just have to do it a lot more frequently because it's so hot and dry here. But I increase, so the way I irrigate my green stalks is twice a day during the peak summertime. 3 minutes in the morning, 3 minutes in the afternoon is how much I run it for. And, I've got over here, I've got one, two, five, seven green stalks. So they follow that schedule. I've got my flower green stalks. They're a little less frequent. I think I may have to up that as well. But yeah, so, and I do it like, be careful when you do it in the heat of the afternoon if you turn your irrigation on because your pipes, the water heats up, so that can burn the roots. I usually do it like early morning and then late at night or something like that. I don't remember what my schedule is, but 3 minutes each time is all it takes, right? And capture the water that comes out of the runoff because that is loaded with nutrients, right? I usually take that and I water the plant, so I pour it right back. But yeah, don't waste that water. It's wonderful nutrition in that water. So yeah, irrigation, very important. And then the other thing that you want to do to keep your green stalks performing well is pruning. You absolutely need to prune your green stalks, especially if you're growing things like tomatoes. I prune like literally every day because there's a few things that happen if you don't prune. Number one, they're going to start shading out plants that are growing a little bit slower. So that's just, it's so difficult for my little pepper plants that are planted between two large tomato plants to be able to get anything. And if you've got squash leaves, those large leaves, they'll shade out everything, right? So prune back the leaves actively. That will also reduce your disease, pressures because the green stalk, it's such a compressed space. Diseases can take hold easily. So regularly, I check every single day for diseases. And then, of course, the third thing is birds love to build their nests. So you have that thick canopy of leaves, nicely shaded, protected from pests and things like that. Birds will build their little nests over there. And believe me, if a bird builds their nest in your green stalk, number one, they won't let you have anything to do with it from that point on. And then secondly, you will not have the heart to destroy their nests, right? So yeah, definitely keep your green stalks nice and pruned. And you'll have to do it very regularly, unfortunately, because the green stalks grow like crazy during summer, especially if you're fertilizing as frequently as I am. Um, let's see. Lanny says, I didn't pursue it because the volunteer is required. Yeah, yeah. If you're working full time, yeah, it's kind of hard. So gardening my Susan says, I've been gardening my entire life. My sister introduced me to the green stock, so now I'm not growing just a few things out of pots on my deck. I'm obsessed. And I've got over 140 vegetables. Okay, you are more obsessed than I am, Susan. I thought I was obsessed. No, you're more obsessed than I am, and it's a good thing. Yeah, I think for me, I've got a decently large garden, and for California especially, and the problem with that, everyone is jealous. Oh, you've got so much space. You're so lucky. I find that it's very difficult for me to take care of that entire yard by myself. So what ends up happening, and yeah, sure, you can get a gardener to mow and blow your lawn. I don't have grass, so I don't even have a gardener to do anything here. Or you can have someone come regularly and take care of your plants, right? Which is kind of expensive. Plus, I want the pleasure of being able to do it. So yeah, I find it very hard to take care of it. And what ends up happening is you plant 50 tomato plants and you plant them close together, whatever, they get diseases. You're just disappointed over and over again. Versus if you've got a smaller garden, you can focus on everything much better and things grow better as a result of it. So, double-edged sword, I am not complaining about my large, beautiful garden, but I am complaining about the amount of work that I need to put in. Sometimes it does get a little much for me. So, yeah, 140 plants. I salute you. Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned green beans, Susan, because I think that is one of those things that I always have on hand, right? I usually direct sow my green beans, but once the plants or the green stalks get very full, it's difficult to direct sow because the plants are so tiny, right? And they just get shaded out and they're not able to grow to size very quickly. So I usually have in my green stock backup plants, and the backup plants, beans are always in that list, squash, zucchini is always on that list, and if I don't end up planting in the green stock, it goes somewhere else in my garden. And I always have flowers. I always have flowers. I go around, like I was saying earlier in the talk, pick marigolds which drop volunteers, and I put them in little 6 packs and I grow them, and I've got marigolds all over and I love them. So it's been hot in Michigan. Yeah, it's been hot everywhere. I'm waiting for a little bit hotter weather here in California because my tomatoes are just taking forever to ripen. So yeah, so back to watering. Sorry, pruning. So you want definitely, please prune your green stalks regularly. And then on the tail of that, pests and disease management. So diseases, yes, they will take hold. So you gotta stay on top of that. One of the things that I do quite regularly, and I don't know whether any of you guys do it as well, I use hydrogen peroxide spray on, especially like my tomatoes and other plants that are more prone to fungal diseases. It works really, really well. So all I do is I take like a gallon sprayer. I've got one of those sprayer things. I don't have it around, but yeah. And I put just half a cup of hydrogen peroxide in a gallon of water, shake it up nicely, and I spray all my plants, and it really makes a big difference. Now, you want to do it early in the morning, right? Because if you do it kind of in the middle of the day, it will fry your leaves a little bit. It's temporary, but I have noticed that when I spray it in the heat of the day, the leaves on some of my plants tend to fry a bit. So do it early in the morning, give it a chance to dry out on the plant. But hydrogen peroxide really helps. Antibacterial, antifungal type properties. So, not sure if any of you guys do it, but yeah, it's a good thing. So the other thing, I was sitting and having breakfast the other day. My sister-in-law was visiting from Slovenia, and she's like, "Guess what's in your green stalk? There's a large bushy tail." So I turned around and looked, and I went outside very quickly. Huge squirrel, right, sitting in my green stalk, nibbling at I don't know what, right? And this is after I had actually put. Let me see if I can show you guys. But I actually put some cages on my green stalk at the bottom. I put like chicken wire. Just to prevent them. And they use the chicken wire to climb up even higher and start doing things to the plants on the top. So squirrels, cute as they are horrible in the green stalk. And I'm still trying to figure out a way to keep them out of my green stalks. I've got pinwheels, I've got flashy things. I even have a small statue of a petrified squirrel. It's a concrete squirrel, but I call it petrified. And I'm like, you come and eat my green stalks, that's going to happen to you. But they don't seem to be worried about it one bit. So yeah, yeah, laddie, try hydrogen peroxide try it on a few plants, kind of see whether you like it or not. Again, everyone's climate is a little bit different, so I don't want to say what works for me will work for you. But you know who I learned it from actually? Someone else in Maryland. Do you follow Gary from the Rusted Garden? If you don't, on YouTube, oh my gosh, he is one of the best gardening resources on YouTube. And yeah, his the sale that's going on right now, the red, white, and blue sale, there's a red color called Rusted Red. That is actually done in partnership with Gary from the Rusted Garden. And he is just, I mean, everyone needs to follow Gary, right? So I learned about the hydrogen peroxide trick from him as well. Him is the one I learned it from. So yeah, follow his channel. He teaches about fertilization. I mean, I learned so much about gardening from Gary. And I also learned about some things I shouldn't do, which he said you should do, right? So one of the things that he recommends is single stemming your tomatoes, because I think in Maryland, maybe you guys have diseases, I'm not really sure. But I did that one year. Every single tomato plant fried in our California heat. So yeah, I cannot single stem tomatoes over here. I have to let a lot of leaves grow. Fortunately, we don't have as much fungal disease pressure as you have in more humid climates. So, yeah, isn't that interesting, Lanny? You watch some of these YouTubers, including myself, I'm sure, and then you learn pretty much how they work and the things that they teach, and then it feels like, okay, I got as much as I need to from this person, and then you move on to a different channel, and then you come back afterward. But yeah, Gary, I just really yeah, him. Callie Kim is the other person that I learned a lot about gardening, and she lives in California. So that's another tip for you guys. If you uh, want to follow, people that do things, try to find people that do things locally, like in your general area. Because if you try techniques that someone in Maryland is doing successfully, like I did with my single stemming tomatoes, you'll learn a lot of things the hard way. So you don't want to do that. Always have someone that you follow locally as well, that you respect, that you can learn from. So yeah, Maryland. Terry Sturm says she's in Maryland too and follows Gary. Yeah, he is just amazing. Him. There's another guy that I love on YouTube, Gardner Scott. Where is he? He's actually, I think he's in Denver, Colorado. So very different climate than mine, but also just a fantastic gardener. Gardner Scott. Uh, yeah, yeah. I'm just reading what Yarn Killer just recommended for the squirrels. I have a problem, you guys. I have a problem killing creatures. And I don't mind other people doing it for me, and I totally respect people that can do it, because I just can't, right? So my husband, poor guy, he's a vegetarian too, like me, but he has a little higher tolerance for being able to take these creatures and dump them in the trash. But yeah, things like rats, mice, voles, maybe even squirrels, they get out of control in your garden. And you can't really, in California, you can't really take them and leave them somewhere else. So you cannot trap and release. It's not allowed. So you have to kill them. And it's worse when you do catch and release, because you're putting them in a foreign territory and other critters will kind of get to them. And it's a very painful death for them. So you're doing them a favor by just taking them out. Sounds horrible, but yeah, gotta do that if you wanna if you wanna grow anything successfully. So the last thing that I've got over here is succession planting. Now, I highly recommend succession planting, and you can do it two ways. You can obviously start seeds, but one thing that I really love doing, especially when I'm doing succession planting on things that grow well from cuttings, that's like the best way, much better than seeds, right? So tomatoes, as an example, they're super easy to root. Basil, a lot of things actually you can root from cuttings. So when you see a sucker, rather than just take it and throw it away, put it in a glass of water if it's a variety that you like to grow, and grow it in succession. And you can keep it, amazingly, you can keep it in water forever, right? So last year I cut some suckers from my tomato plant, and I let it sit for like 3 or 4 months in water. It looked yellow, and it grew roots, but it just didn't look good. I changed the water, or I kind of added to the water every once in a while. And then eventually I'm like, okay, fine, I'll plant it. And I grew the most amazing tomato plants from those suckers that were just sitting and yellowing with a few roots, right? So grow tomatoes from suckers. I can't recommend that strongly enough. It's just so much easier than starting them from seed. All right, neem oil. So yeah, I do use neem oil. I I've heard that neem oil and any oil actually work equally well. Maybe neem oil is slightly more effective. Um, I worry a little bit about killing more than I should. Uh, I don't know whether neem oil. I've read mixed reviews on neem oil, right? They kill not just, or they prevent not just the bad guys, but also the good guys. So yeah, I guess use strategically. I've not figured out yet how to control aphids, by the way. So if any of you guys have strategies on controlling aphids in your green stock, please let me know. Every year, right? I bought my green stocks mainly because I want to grow strawberries, but every year I get aphids, and they sit in the stems, and they're difficult to get to because those pockets are not easy to access. And then the ants come and they protect the aphids, and it's just, so I've just not had great success growing strawberries in my green stock, and it's mainly because of the aphids. That and the fact that I overwater, so even whatever strawberries I get taste watered down. But yeah, if you guys have tips on how to keep aphids out of the green stalks, do let me know. I would love to learn. So, well, it's 10:58, and at least my time. So I just want to, yeah, let me just see if there's anything else here. I really appreciate you guys joining my live streams. This is my third live stream, and I'm kind of really enjoying it. I feel I get to know you guys a lot better through my live streams. So thank you so much for joining. And if there are topics, I've got a running list of topics that I want to talk about in future videos. But if there are topics that you want me to talk about, and this is not just GreenStalk stuff, right? If you want to learn more about other things, I've got like my latest thing is I've got these elevated raised beds that I've got from Vago Garden that I'm absolutely loving, right? I don't know whether you can see the one behind me. That's a self-watering planter. Lani also is an affiliate of Vago Garden, and she's got a fantastic set of planters from them, the galvanized planters. So I've got all kinds of stuff going on in my garden. If you want to learn more about other things as well, definitely go to my community. So I've got a community page now. So go to my community and leave me a message over there. And I would love for you guys to follow me on Instagram as well. Greenlove121 is my handle. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of the weekend, you guys. And I'll talk to you a month from now.